homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, Storm Smart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because smart is complete hurricane protection, and smart is peace of mind. Call Storm Smart today for your free in-home consultation.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Storm Smart. Protect every opening of your home. And Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
How you doing, everybody? It is a Tuesday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you very much to Jason Adams for taking care of everything yesterday. And we are back. We are not on the spot tonight because the Bolts are taking on the San Jose Sharks right this minute. And looking over at the spot, it is scoreless with 6:43 left in the first period over at the bench, or Benchmark International. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We are going to be talking about big winter storm that's coming into the southeast. It's going to actually impact everybody from Texas all the way to the mid-Atlantic over the weekend. I do want to, breaking baseball news, as I just happened to see on my phone, that Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones, and it is Andrew, it is not Andrew, Andrew Jones from Curacao, played for the Braves. Back in the day when I was just getting into fantasy baseball, Andrew Jones was kind of like my first rookie that I ever selected. And guy's a superstar. Obviously, he is now a Hall of Famer, as is Carlos Beltran. So, yeah, we've, again, thank you to Jason for checking in. So we are going to keep a running tab on if we see any freezing on social tonight, because we have the powers that be checking in on us to see if we can figure out why, when, where, how it happens. But tonight we're not on the spot. Again, the Bolts game is, so we can focus on y'all, your questions. I know a lot of folks have questions. I see we have some folks here from Philly, folks here from Georgia. Let's do some hellos, as we typically do when things aren't on TV. A little less time when we're on TV to do our Q&A, but we always love that because, the OG folks have been around for 20 years. And by the way, if you were not here last week, you missed. I broke the ban button. Still lights up, so it still kind of works, but obviously the buzzer doesn't work. So I think at this point, I'm just going to have to be like, ah. It's pretty close. Ah. Or I could do auga, or yeah, I'm going to be ordering another one shortly. I didn't get around to it. I forgot. So that's our ban button for when people get political or people get obnoxious or people get, I will throw this out here, and then we are going to get into the weather, I promise. So every now and again, we get people who are new to the show and the interactions, and they're really not sure if there is a joke involved when we're banning people. 99% of the time, it's a joke. We do it for spammers or for people who are being political or whatever the case may be. But it's never a personal thing. We just try to keep things on topic and lighthearted and fun. I got an email on Saturday from someone who did not understand that, and it actually had something to do back with our conversations last week with a person named Robin, who said that she was in a hayfield. So I immediately think, all right, if someone says that they're in a hayfield, they're probably getting the gag and understand that this is kind of a joke. But apparently one of the people did not, and she took offense to it. I'm like, I didn't realize we were joking. And I go, look, if you say that you're in the middle of a hayfield, that to me thinks that you're in on it, but maybe not. So my suggestion again is just kind of if you want to hang back and kind of get a feel for the vibe of the folks here, because we are a family and many families are dysfunctional. And this one is certainly at the top of that list, but we are a family and we have each other's backs, even if that is to stick a knife in it, but we still have each other's backs. So just remember that. Jules, how's it going? Yes, Andrew Jones. Jules, I knew you were a Braves fan. Bonnie, how you doing? Deb in Palm Harbor. Debbie says it did not freeze last night where she was. It did in many spots, and I'll show you those numbers in a second. Pat in Largo. Rose, how you doing? Jason absolutely did an amazing job, as always. Terry in Oldsmar. Winston-Salem's in the house. I noticed we do have a lot of folks in here. Cruz Mike is in the house in Fayetteville. So I am noticing. Stephen in Clearwater. How you doing, Stephen? So I definitely see that we need an air horn to replace the band button. Yeah, that would scare the newsroom. I don't know what they would do. So we got a lot of folks about travel, and we're definitely going to get into all of it because, yeah, it's going to be a bad situation. All right. I am not, you know me, I don't hype stuff. I don't overstate stuff, but you can drive in snow. You can even drive in sleet a little bit. You can drive in rain. You cannot drive in freezing rain. You can't, period. It is a glaze of ice. I spent a good portion of my younger years in learning to drive up north in freezing rain, in sleet. I was driving when I lived in Providence, and it was briefly, like 3 months, 6 months, I don't know, it wasn't very long, but it was in the wintertime. And I was driving south on 95 from downtown Providence to get to Narragansett. True story. And I'm driving, and the roads were ice. And you know, people up north, they don't care. They're still going to drive fast. So I was just sticking with the flow of traffic, right? Driving south on 95 just outside of Providence, and I hit a patch of ice, and I literally did a 360. I don't know how fast I was going. I mean, it wasn't full speed, obviously, because it was icy and snowy. But I did a 360, and I ended up pointing in the exact same direction that I started by sheer luck or by God's grace, and I just kept going. And I got another story about that. So I took my family, and this one, that was pure luck. There was no skill involved at all. Point is, driving in freezing rain is impossible, all right? I was taking my family on a road trip to Ski Beach, right? We like Beach Mountain. We like Sugar Mountain. We love going to Banner Elk. It's a beautiful little place, and they're going to get some snow too, I think. Snow or ice, it's going to be a close call. Again, we're going to go through all that coming up in a minute. We don't have commercial breaks today, so we can get into it. But, so I'm taking the family on a ski trip. We were in the minivan without any chains or snow tires because we're from Florida, right? We had a little bit of snow, maybe an inch of snow, freshly fallen snow. We were the only ones on the road. It was maybe 6 o'clock in the morning that we got there. And we're starting to drive up the steep incline to where we were staying at one of those cabins that were right there on the ski slopes in Beach, right? And no, it was sugar. It was sugar. It was sugar. It was sugar. That year it was sugar. So we were going up the little mountain, the little road, and to get to the little lodge. Not even a lodge, little cabins, right? So I got up there, and I was about half, and we were the only ones on the road. It was that early in the morning. So we got about halfway up, and it would not, the minivan with no snow tires or chains would not go any farther. It was as far as we were going to go. And we were on an incline, you know, I mean, not a horrible incline, but, you know, 30, 35, 40-degree incline, I guess. Would not go any further. So I'm like, all right, we're not going to be able to do this. So we're going to have to back down. And no cars on the road, but there was a cliff on each side. But it was a straight shot right down. It wasn't curvy, straight down, and it went into a crossroad that there was no cars on the road either that early in the morning. So I'm like, no big deal. I drove a lot in the snow. And this was not ice, but maybe a little bit of ice underneath it. I'm not sure. Anyway, couldn't go any further. So I'm backing down. I'm like, guys, it's okay. You know, everybody's holding on. The kid's like, you know, I'm like, I got this. It's all good. So I'm starting to come down, and it's all good. You know, I'm keeping it in control. And then we hit a patch of whatever it was, either snow or ice. I think it was probably ice. Could have been snow because we're on a minivan with no chains. And we just started going, and it could not stop. Now, you don't want to slam on your brakes at that point because you're going to end up in a ravine on either side. And oh, by the way, later that day when we went back, to make a long story short, there were cars in those ravines. They did not make it. So anyway, I'm thinking to myself, all right, we're starting to pick up a little speed, maybe 10 miles an hour, going down straight. So I'm not worried about going off yet. But I also knew that when I crossed that road, I hoped there were no cars. And I'm like, I'm going to hit the brake, I'm going to pump the brake like that, and it's going to do a little spin for me. All right? And I had hopes. My thought in my mind as this was happening, that spin is going to be okay because it's not going to be a spin. It's going to be like a little spin, and we're going to be okay. The family's freaking out in the car as we're going down this run, right? So we're going down, and just before we hit the crossroad, which there were still no cars, boom, I hit the brake. Boom, I hit the brake. And we did a 270, and I ended up exactly pointing in the right direction, perpendicular to the road I was on, right on the road that I needed to be on. I'll swear to this date, and my family still says I'm lying, I swear to this date that that was my plan, and it worked exactly like I thought it would. And we immediately drove to the next town over, went to the Napa Auto Parts store, and bought chains. Now, putting the chains on the car was another story because I had not put chains on a car in like 30 years. So that in itself, and living in Florida for a long time, you know, that in itself was an event. And getting the kids to help me, that was an event. But nevertheless, we did make, so moral of the story is don't drive on mountain roads in snow tires, without snow tires and chains in a minivan and expect to get where you're wanting to go. Have chains. Now, the problem with chains is once that snow melts, I was getting yelled at by the locals because I was having to go up the road, which still was icy, and I had to keep the chains on. But when I'm at the bottom of the road, you're driving where there's no ice, and people are like, oh, look at that moron from Florida, Florida plates. Look at that moron from Florida driving with chains on the road. What are you doing? Like, I got to have them on because I can't get up the hill without it. Anyway, there's the story. So, and I promise you I'm going to get into the ice storm. That same trip, and I don't think we had the snow tires on, or the chains on this time either. No, we didn't. We were trying to, this was ice because it was night. It was at night, right? So I've got the kids in the car and the wife with a little baby, right? And we're kind of zzz, you know, if you've driven in snow, you know, zzz, not going anywhere. I told the wife and the younger daughter and the baby just to get out and walk up to the cabin and they'd be okay, which they did. I took the boys, Josh, no, it wasn't Josh, he was too young. Maybe it was Josh, I can't remember. Brett and Shay, the two older ones, guys, okay, I'm going to get out, no. I'm going to hold on to the car. You guys push just to get me a little bit up off the ice and we're okay. So they got out of the car and I look over and I see a wolf standing there. True story. It was a wolf. It wasn't a coyote, it was a wolf. And I looked at them. I'm like, guys, get in the car now. They're like, what, Dad? Get in the car now. So like they got in the car and they got in the car. I'm like, guys, look, there's a wolf over there. Like, whoa. Wolf went away, didn't bother anybody. Then at that point, though, I just started gunning it, and we were able to, without even pushing it, to get up the hill. All right, there you go. That was my ice story. So the reason is because there is a significant ice storm / snowstorm / rainstorm / sleet storm that is going to be impacting the East Coast all the way back to Texas. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to talk a little bit about, right now, the different models. We're going to talk about what our thoughts are and the timing, okay? So this is Wednesday morning. By the way, we are in for a beautiful stretch of weather. We'll get to our forecast in a minute, but I know we do have some folks who are very interested in the ice and the snow from up north. So let's go ahead and Cruz Mike, you should come to Florida tomorrow. You absolutely should. I'm not seeing any freezing at all, guys. I'm not seeing any freezing. But if you are getting freezing, and Jules, people that know what the freezing is like on this side, please note the time and let me know that time exactly when it happens, because we're going to be looking at the internet. But I'm not showing any freezing at all right now. All right, so here is a look at the GFS, all right? So there's Wednesday. There's Thursday, 7 p.m. There's Friday. Look at all the cold air. Look at all that cold air digging in. Holy cow. 540 line, it goes all the way down to the 480 line, people. The 480. You ever see the movie The Day After Tomorrow where there was that cold stratospheric ice thing that froze everything on contact and you immediately died if it hit you? Okay, it won't be that cold. But my point is, there's a 480 line in the UP of Michigan. That is stupid cold. That might very well be some of the coldest cold I've seen in a long, long time. Okay, so your 540 line, I mean, look, it's crazy. All right, let's keep going. So that is a look at Friday night, 7 o'clock. We start to see, all right, here are the colors. Blue is snow. Orange is sleet. Pink is freezing rain. And green is rain. So Dallas, Fort Worth, you are looking at ice on Friday evening. All right, now, this is 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So let's talk more about this, all right? And let's define that. Let's give some definitions on here. Stupid cold is a meteorological term, Mary. All right, so snow. Atmosphere is cold from top to bottom. Precipitation stays frozen, okay? Sleet starts as snow, melts briefly in an inversion, in a layer of warm air, drops further, goes into another area of cold air and refreezes. So you can call it sleet or ice pellets, all right? It's all the same. It's not hail. Hail is different. It's a summertime event, for us at least. Well, spring and summer. Yeah, fall. And winter sometimes. Regardless, you know what I'm saying. Hail is based on frozen, melts, lifts back up, refreezes, drops again with a downdraft, melts, lifts back up, refreezes. And if you were to cut a hailstone, you can actually count the rings just like you would with a tree, and you can see how many times it's frozen and refrozen. This is not hail. All right, back to what we're saying here. Sleet, okay? Snow, melts, refreezes, sleet, lands as a solid ice pellet. Freezing rain, which is the next phase, which is the pink phase, the worst of the worst. Freezing rain accumulates on power lines. Freezing rain accumulates on trees. Freezing rain accumulates on everything. What exactly is freezing rain? Freezing rain is a liquid form. It is supercooled water. So what you actually have, there's two scenarios, if you will. One is the liquid water is extremely close to 32 degrees. The ground or the power lines or the trees are sub-freezing. And when that liquid hits that sub-freezing area, it freezes on contact into a glaze of ice. Trees fall down on power lines. Power goes out. Nightmare scenario. Really terrible. Snow is pretty awesome. I love snowstorms. I'm not gonna lie. I live in Florida, but I still love snowstorms. You can stay inside, you're usually fine. You're okay. Ice, you lose power, all right? The other scenario, by the way, is you have something that's called supercooled water. It is sub-freezing, but it is in liquid form. It's very sciencey, but that's where we're here, all right? We're here for that tonight. So you have a sub-freezing, supercooled liquid form water, which immediately freezes on contact on any surface, whether it's ground, whether it's grass, whether it's cars, whatever the case may be. All right. So then you have rain. Right, so let's get back to the locations. Okay. Had to give you the definition of what it was. Okay. So I'm trying to get back on Facebook here. All right, here we go. All right, so that's 7 a.m. on Saturday. This is GFS, by the way. Here's 7 p.m. on Saturday. You have snow from Cruise Mike in Fayetteville, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, northern Georgia. You've got the purple, you've got the peach area, peachy orange area of sleet, that you can see right there in the orange. You have the fuchsia purplish color, which is freezing rain, and that's the bad stuff. And then you have the rain. Now that is the GFS. Look at the Euro. The Euro is a little slower. The Euro is a little slower, okay? Forecasting 4 days out where the rain snow line is, where the sleet freezing rain line is impossible. It is impossible. Impossible. So this is something you're going to have to come back and check every night for an update. This is 7 a.m. GFS, snow, Cruise Mike, still getting a lot of snow. South Carolina, freezing rain and sleet. Atlanta, sleet and snow, 7 a.m. Euro, Atlanta, all freezing rain. The Euro is a horrific scenario with the Atlanta metropolitan area covered in ice for about 12 hours. All of South Carolina, freezing rain. Let's go back to Saturday night. That is no snow in Atlanta. The Euro says all freezing rain. If that happens, it'll be like the Super Bowl. When was it? I don't know. Years and years and years ago when they had an ice storm. It was awful. So, look at where the snow is. Northern North Carolina, Virginia. I will show you the snow map for Richmond and come up in a second. So there's all these little cities. Look at the city you're asking for, find it on the map. And that's what we're looking at here. The Euro has snow in blue, very little sleets by now, all freezing rain and snow or rain. GFS, Euro. 7 p.m., GFS, freezing rain all the way down to the Florida state line. Euro, only rain for the Florida area. Still freezing rain in Atlanta. The Euro's right, there's gonna be like 18 hours of freezing rain. Nightmare. And then snow for Virginia. This is a snow event for Virginia, for Maryland, for Delaware, for West Virginia, and that is a major snow event. You ask yourselves, how much snow are we talking about? All right, let's look. Overall snowfall totals. This is the Euro. Through Monday morning, That's a foot of snow. Let's go ahead and look at the entire country on this map here. It'll be easier to see areas. I don't want to cut off Virginia. Cruise Mike, look where you live. Are you right on the fringe or are you right in the foot? If you can, Astrid, if you can get up to Virginia before it starts, you'll be able to just do, let's do East Coast. Here, let's just go back. Just go back and do U.S. in general. All right, here we go. Here's the whole U.S. and snowfall. Okay, there we go. There's your snowfall map. All right, this is the Euro. Again, it probably will change, but look at your totals wherever you're interested in. All right, this is through next Monday. This is 5 days, 6 days out. 5, 6 days out. This will change. This is by no means locked in, but there it is. Mike's more on the fringe. Gotcha. All right. Sandra wants to know about I-10 for truckers going through Texas. All right, we'll show you that in a minute. It's a good question. That is a real solid area of 8 to 12 inches of snow from northern North Carolina, all of Virginia, the Delmarva 8 to 10. Again, this is 5, 6 days out. It will change. Could change to more rain. Could be more ice. Can't zoom in on that, but I can choose a different setup. So let's go the Northeast. All right, so here's the Northeast. All right, here we go. We can do Northeast and Southeast. There's a look at total snowfall expected through next Monday. There it is. There are your totals. That's the Northeast. That's a week out. Now let's look at the Southeast. See it? There's your totals. Check it out. Look at where you're interested in. There's the Southeast. Here's the Southeast. That was the Northeast. All right? There are your heavy snowfall totals. What about ice? All right? Freezing rain. Here is the Euro's freezing rain forecast. Saturday night. Okay, so here's Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday evening. Look at Atlanta. Atlanta's going to have from Saturday night through Sunday night, 24 hours of freezing rain, based on the current thinking. All right. Now, you had asked about Texas and I-10. Here's the Euro again. So there is the freezing rain in Texas. And that's north of I-10. That is north of I-10. North of I-10. All right? Central Alabama, Leslie, that's ice, if the Euro is right. This is going to change, inevitably. This is going to change. The rain snow line, the sleet, everything else, that is going to change. But it is going to be, as an ice situation, it is going to be a nightmare. For us, we are going to warm up to nearly 80 degrees starting Thursday through Sunday, and then that same front is going to come through and bring us another round of cold air early next week. All right, now I'm going to continue on Facebook. Streamers only have another 25 seconds. So tomorrow night, we are also not on the spot. There's another hockey game, not the Bolts. But so we will be live on streaming as well as here, and I'll go ahead and continue to give updates, and then we're back on Facebook and the spot starting on Thursday, and I don't know about Friday. So if you want to continue to get information, ask questions, follow on Facebook. Streamers, have a good night. Okay, streamers are gone. All right, so let's go back. Okay. New Orleans, Crystal's asking. That looks Well, at this point, we can look at it again. So if you look at New Orleans, here's the freezing rain. The Euro keeps this well. Close call. It's a close call for New Orleans, matter of fact. But for snowfall, by the way, here's just the precip in general for the Euro. So you see the rain, then you see it change to sleet and snow. There's your freezing rain in pink, your snow in blue. This is Saturday afternoon. Saturday afternoon. Okay, here's Saturday morning. Let's go back. Friday night. All right, there's Texas. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon. Saturday night. Saturday. Okay. Sunday morning. Boy, look at that. Georgia and South Carolina. And this could very easily change. Probably will change tomorrow. But this is where we are right now. So here is my suggestion. And then there's the snow. All snow right now for Virginia, except for maybe Norfolk. Maybe Norfolk. Richmond right on the fringe is snowing and freezing rain. But again, as I said, we simply cannot, this far out, we're not going to know. We're not going to know this far out. And here's the Euro again, 12. So I already looked at that. So let's go ahead and, what does this mean for us? Okay. All right. Couldn't read the Facebook screen. How much snow expected in Richmond this weekend? Robert, if the Euro were to verify, probably 8 to 12 inches of snow. Now, I'll say this again. When I lived up north and I forecasted many a year snow and ice, rain snow lines, snow freezing rain lines, sleet snow lines, by far are the hardest forecast I've ever had to make. Way harder than any hurricane. Hurricanes are nowhere nearly as difficult to forecast as rain snow. Those forecasts you literally aren't going to lock in until maybe 6 to 12 hours beforehand, unless there's a very unusual, like if you know it's super cold and it's going to be all snow, okay, then that's easier. A lot of times, most of the time, you don't have that luxury, but occasionally you do. But when you're talking about rain, snow, sleet, or freezing rain, 6 to 12 hours is sometimes the most you're going to get. So here is my suggestion. If you live anywhere in northern and central Louisiana, northern and central Alabama, northern and central Mississippi, northern and central Georgia, all of South Carolina, all of North Carolina, all of West Virginia, the Delmarva, you want to be prepared. And I'm not going to say run out and buy milk and bread and eggs. I'm not saying do it, but you probably should do it. Because come Friday, maybe Thursday, it's going to be pandemonium. Because I don't believe this forecast is going to change dramatically for those areas. Now, the rain snow will change, inevitably. But there is going to, and it's possible, so if Atlanta were to change, it would probably be more of a, well, that's even tough. I was going to say maybe more snow, but that's not even true. If it goes farther south, it's more snow. If the low goes farther south, it's more snow. If the low goes farther north, there's more rain. So it really all depends on the exact track of that low. But if you are in the area that shows freezing rain, not even snow, you can get around in snow. You really can. You guys know this if you live up there, you can get around in snow. The problem with freezing rain is you're going to lose power quite often because the freezing rain accumulates on the power lines or the trees, and the trees fall on the power lines, and you lose power. This could very easily be a widespread power outage for central and northern Georgia, all of South Carolina, and the southern half of North Carolina. and maybe even through northern North Carolina if the Euro is right. So this is just the one model. It's going to change, but this is one of those situations where I am telling you 5 days out to be ready for this one. Because being without power is lame. And you could be without power for a couple days if you're in the middle of an ice storm with no heat. So be prepared, okay? As Scar said in The Lion King, be prepared. So snow, you get a foot of snow, they clean the roads off in a day. And you probably don't even lose power. And you're out going around. You do. I've driven in many a snowstorm, but ice is another animal entirely. Ice is just pretty much impossible, all right? So, yeah, Wendy's right. Freezing rain will close down Atlanta for days. You're right. Well, and I will tell you this. So I have someone within corporate, for Scripps Corporate, emailed me earlier today saying that they are planning on, there's a corporate function in Cincinnati on Monday, and they are wanting to know if people who are coming from Atlanta are going to have problems. And I said, look, yes, Sunday, and they were talking about having people leave on Monday. The weather will be over by Monday. The ice storm will be over by Monday. But how long will the power outages be going on if they have a big ice storm that hits on Sunday? Will it last 2 days? Will it last 12 hours? I don't know. So that's the challenge. And I'll say it again. It's not going to impact Rhode Island, Amy. It's going to move out. So there you go. All right. So that is it. And we will give you a complete update again tomorrow. Complete update again Thursday, Friday. Do want to talk about our local weather. So we are looking good. This morning we started out 20s and 30s. Right now we are in the 40s, 50s, and 60s with a warming trend on the way. Youngsville, Louisiana, Terry wants to know. I don't know where Youngsville, Louisiana is, but anywhere from northern Louisiana has the chance of some freezing rain, northern and central. Again, too early to pinpoint details. This morning, we started mid-20s, Brooksville, 27 Crystal River, Inverness. These were this morning's. Tomorrow morning will not be nearly as cold. How you doing, Jessica? Mike remembers a crippling ice storm in 72. Leslie, that'll be on Saturday evening and Sunday. Any problems flying from Tampa to Maine on Friday? No. No problems, Trish. You are good. Bolts are up. Yep. So Hagel with the goal. Bolts are up 2-1 over the San Jose Sharks. 2-1 Bolts. And I will tell you something. So this is going to be kind of fun. So you may know about this winter event that's going to be going on that's going to cause the NHL to take a 2-week break. You may know about this. So this major event that's going to be going on means the Bolts will be off for a couple of weeks. So what we are doing on the spot on DPL, we are going to be having some folks from the Bolts on DPL for a couple of weeks to talk about maybe youth hockey in the area, to talk about the big game across the street on February 1st with the Stadium Series, with the Bolts playing. So that's going to be a blast coming up in just about a week and a half. So we are going to be having some folks from the Bolts to talk about Tampa Bay Lightning hockey when they are overseas. So that's going to be fun. So that's going on. All right, highs today, we hit the mid to upper 70s. Outside right now, clear and 58 degrees. The winds are light. Cool view of Ray J with 68, the current temp, or rather the high today. 71 was the normal. John, I remember the blizzard of 78 as well. I lived in Fairfax, Virginia. There's a look at the radar, satellite, looks good. No worries, very few clouds. Nice warming trend is on the way. No rain expected until maybe late Sunday night into early on Monday. Galen, I remember that storm well. So tomorrow morning, thank you for the update. I'm not seeing any freezing on my end. So let me know. Let me know. Mid to upper 40s in Hillsborough County on Wednesday. Upper 40s to around 50, Pinellas County. Now here's the thing. I think there will still be some patchy frost tomorrow. Oh, Bolts score again. They're up 3-1 now over the San Jose Sharks. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Barb. Not much rain at all. Land O'Lakes is in the house. Tammy, how you doing? Yeah, Denise, that new stadium proposal is directly across the street from us. So I'd love that. Could go check out some Rays games. No freezings at all. No freezing on Facebook at all for you tonight. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate it. Debbie's going to bed. So I do think there will be some patchy frost. We're not looking for any kind of a freeze, a widespread freeze, but I still think areas could be 33 to 35 from Crystal River over to Brooksville. The models are going higher, but inevitably we get colder. We just kind of do. Mid to upper 40s, Polk, Hardy, DeSoto Highlands, upper 40s back toward the coast. Leslie, Saturday evening into Sunday morning, into Sunday afternoon, actually. Highs tomorrow, middle 70s. Middle 70s. Polk will be in the mid 40s. No frost. But I do think there will be some frost in Citrus and Hernando. Yeah, it must be you, Barb, because when I freeze, I see it on my end on the computer, and it will show freezing, and I'm seeing nothing at all. Now, our internet here, we have 800 Mbps upload and download. So, you know, the problem is, see it, Mary? The problem is when the internet hiccups or when there's a network issue. It's not the overall speed in general. It's when there's a hiccup. And right now, we're not showing any hiccups. So that's a plus. All right, rain. No rain expected through Saturday. Maybe some late Saturday, or rather late Sunday into Monday as that front comes in. So there's the national picture. And again, Futurecast, some snow on Wednesday across the Great Lakes. But there you go. Look at north of Dallas, not Houston. Well north of I-10 is where that snow and ice is going to set up. All right? Yes, Jules, back to AC tomorrow. There's your and not San Atlantic City. Partly cloudy to clear overnight. Beach tomorrow looks good. Thank you, John, for letting me know on YouTube too, because I rarely hear about YouTube if it's streaming. So thank you. That's really helpful. And I just froze. I just froze at 8:11. I just froze at 8:11. You know what? How weird is that? I say it and it happened. That is just really interesting. Wow. Second time that's happened. How crazy is that? $8:10 to $8:12. All right. All right, I'm going to let people know. See if we come back. Because hold on. Yep, we're frozen. Oh, we're back? Okay, 8:10 to 8:12. How weird is that? The second time in a row I said we haven't froze, and 10 seconds later we froze. There's something rotten in Denmark, folks. There is something going on here. Something going on. All right, anyway, I did get through everything, though. There's absolutely something going on. That is too funny. 2 days in a row, I have said something, and 2 days in a row, we have frozen when I said it. YouTube is still good, John says. Now that is important. John, did we ever freeze on YouTube? I need to know that. Hold on, stand by. Did we ever freeze on YouTube? Because I'm still frozen. All right, well, anyway, we got everything done we needed to get done. We did. So we're going to call it a night, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk more about our impending snow, ice, freezing rainstorm and see if we have any more freezing. So you guys have a good night, and I'll see you on tomorrow night's edition of Dennis Phillips Live.